20% profit in the bag. Bitcoin has just faked us all out, and what's 6'2" always wears a hat and FOMO's into a trade. This guy. Hello, welcome to Big Wick Energy, a 100% automated copy trading bot, fully managed by the Block Party trading team. It's exclusively available on Mizar, and if you want to get access, just head on over to Mizar.ai, check out the marketplace, and we're right there. If you want a truly set and forget experience with automated trading, then this is for you. There is no monthly subscription. We only get paid if we win. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us grow and bring you more awesome content. Enough yapping, let's get into those trades. So this is where it all begins with Bitcoin, and we're going to get some sentiment of what the market is doing today and what the market has just done. And what the market has just done is, I think it threw what is called a fakie. And what I mean by that is everything was looking incredibly bullish. Everything was pointing towards a breakout. We had some amazing news drop from BlackRock, which was, they're opening up spot BTC trading to all of their institutional clients. Now, when you're looking at BlackRock and their holdings, it's just insane. It's like 50 billion or something like that. But they have such a wider impact on the market if they were to go down that route. Now, there is speculation that there was some pumps yesterday from mainstream media news in the US saying to go out and buy Ethereum. And when you hear things like that in mainstream media, then that's usually a massive sign to sell. I'm not saying it had a massive impact on this crash here, but other significant things that are kicking off are, Spain and France have recorded their highest inflation rates in over 35 years. That's big news. And once they're not kind of global leading crypto-focused countries, this will be kind of resonating around Europe. And whilst they may not individually be massive crypto-focused countries, as I guess they kind of are. But not up there with like the US and whatnot. But like I said, this resonates throughout, and Europe in itself is quite a big crypto community, and that can have an impact. So whilst it may not completely destroy the market, it can certainly hit it at what is called like a tipping point, and that's where we were at yesterday. And we saw on the 15-minute a double top divergence, and in this ascending triangle right here, going into what we now have confirmed as a longer term ascending wedge or rising wedge, which is not great. Rising wedges are quite notoriously bearish, especially in a downtrend. We'll have a look at that. We'll just, if in doubt, zoom out and I'll show you what I mean. Let's get it on the lower time frame, and as you can see, amongst all of this text right here, we kind of had a tap here, tap here, tap here, and then we've had 1-2 taps, and we can arguably include this back here. But where I'm going with this one is we're getting reduced. Sorry, beg your pardon if I had all this text out the way. As you can see, we've just had this confirmation of a tap just here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and almost 3, 4. So with this rejection now, we're going to be coming back down to test this lower area here, which is the place which I would say I'm probably most nervous about, in around about the $23,500 territory. If we come down and break through that, then it really does open a pretty evil potential dump from there. Now, what are we actually doing at the moment in regards to Bitcoin? There's quite a lot of lines on here, and I will explain them, don't worry. But what the pattern that we've pretty much just seen here is, well, it's a head and shoulders. We started down here, we bounced up, left shoulder, armpit, head, armpit, and then we had a rejection here on a key resistance. But most importantly, that's in line with the left shoulder. So we would expect that it would probably send itself down to around about this 23,500, which is danger zone. But realistically, if it was going to fill out the full head and shoulders, it should actually take it down to more around 22,800 conservatively. But we're not there yet. We can bounce. We don't have a great deal of bullish sentiment in regards to actual technical analysis or really news for that matter. Even the on-chain is looking a little bit bleak as well. So all in all, it is leaning towards a more bearish turn. I feel there's going to be more bear movement to come, and this 23,500 is a target that I am looking at quite heavily, and really honestly kind of praying that we actually hold. I don't particularly want to go down, because whilst we will probably recover, and I think that 20k is probably going to be our max pain if we do, it's just the recovery, you know. It's just annoying, because then we have to start all over again and start to climb back up, and it just takes ages, you know, because then we have a lot of FUD and fear in the market, and people are very unsure. Then that's when the FUD cycle news starts kicking off again, and like I said, it just makes it very hard to get going again. But when we're breaking long-term resistances and getting into fresh local highs, that's when it starts to get exciting again. That's when people start to release all of their kind of cool news. I want to talk about people, I'm talking about like assets, because you got to believe that a lot of these assets have been sitting on amazing upgrades, amazing updates, amazing news for the past 7 months, to be honest, or since November. Then they're not going to release it when it's going to have little impact, when money is flowing out of the market. They do these updates, they do these upgrades to draw people into their ecosystem. So they're not going to release them. They're not going to put loads of money behind marketing in order to release them whilst the money's not going towards them. So you will see the occasional one, mainnet updates, hard forks even, but they get planned a long time in advance and are somewhat very committed to. But if they have any kind of control over when they can release all this stuff, then they will obviously do it when the market is pumping. So that being said, we are looking bearish. We don't have a great deal of news. The SEC is still on a rampage, subpoenaing everyone that they can get their hands on. They're going after hedge funds now, which is probably not great. But one of the other little news articles which I did like, one of the news articles that I did like is the CFTC chairman said that they are now ready to regulate crypto. You know, commonly regulating and regulation actually has kind of a negative connotation towards it, but in this case, crypto wants to be regulated. We want to have authenticity to it. We want to have the stamp of approval. So that's great news, and hopefully that can start to get into place, start to get into motion, and get all of the immediate FUD out of the way and the long-term bonus and bullishness incoming. So BTC, in a nutshell, it's looking bearish, guys. I'm not going to be opening any trades right now until we get to around about this $23,500 mark. Even shorts right now, it's a bit tentative, because we can pump just as easy. We can dump right now with 50-50, and I don't like making trades on a knife edge. But, you know, needless to say, we will see what turns out. So let's have a quick look at the portfolio. Cardano has been rustling around its break-even price. All that needs is BTC to show a little bit of strength, but it has held its own quite well during this recent dump. In fact, pretty much all alts in my opinion, pretty much all alts have held their own pretty well against this recent BTC dump. AMP kind of came out of nowhere and took that TP down, which was awesome. You know, our stars were AMP, SXP, IOTX, and ZIL, which brought in 20% over the past 24 hours. So to be honest, whilst the market's doing this, I'm super happy with that. BNB down. Hey, look, the down tokens are looking a little bit more positive, but let's not celebrate that too much. BNB absolutely stacked it in the past 24 hours. It was actually holding pretty strong at break even, but you know, BTC, it does lead the market and it's going to bring them down. But if I'm being honest, I think from a safety order perspective, other than the down tokens, we have 1 trade at 2 safety orders and then 3 trades at 1 safety order so far. And we only have 17 trades open, including the 3 down tokens. So as far as long exposure goes right now, we have 14 longs open, which isn't even half of our portfolio. So this is the kind of area we want to be in, with pretty much maximum safety orders and very, very little commitment to, not very, very little overcommitment to longs. BTC, we've just been through. Again, that was a shame because that was looking very positive, and then it just completely stacked it. But again, you know, we are only, let's see, we're only 1.4% down in that. So I think we can live with that. ENJ, looking very positive. The pump hit. We had almost an idyllic idyllic right shoulder. We had an idyllic head and shoulder pattern playing out here. It's very, very nice. And it was just on that trajectory going straight up, and then BTC hit and crushed it. Ethereum is holding super well. Unsurprisingly, I say unsurprisingly, we've got nothing is unsurprising in crypto. Everything is super surprising because it just does what it wants when it wants. But interestingly, with Ethereum, I thought that was going to crumble. I really, really did, but it's actually held its own incredibly well. From this recent local high, it's only gone 3% down. So that's super interesting, and I think that could be a bit of a sentiment that people are holding that there, and Ethereum could almost be the one to watch to lead the market over this short-term period. So keep your eyes on Ethereum, and especially ETH BTC, because that, again, we could see that the market might be taking cues from Ethereum over the shorter term period. So Ethereum, get some. Phil, this actually filled a safety order. This is one of our very few trades that have a safety order filled, and we are currently sat at 1.3% down. We did have a bearish Gartley there, but everything's looking a little bit bearish at the moment. So not much to report there. HNT, here we are again, Old Faithful. We're still ratting around in this descending triangle, and again, we really don't want to be breaking down here, because then we're going to have to start getting a little bit creative and more aggressive with the safety orders. But if, like I said many times before, if we break out of this trend line here, then I'm going to go in hard. IOTX, one of our winners, we just have to take profit there. But interesting as well, it actually held its own incredibly well against the BTC dump. KDA unfortunately did not fare ever so well against the BTC dump, and in fact actually picked up a safety order, and it's brought the price down. We have dropped through the 200 EMA on the 1 hour. Not the end of the world, and we haven't actually hit a new lower low, a significant low. So again, we're not actually looking totally bearish there. KMD, looking pretty good. We had this real nice double bottom, and honestly thought that was going to send it sailing up. We did break through or get rejected from the underside of this trend line. So looking at a little bit bearish, if I'm being honest, from this point of view. Because like I said, we've broken down on this trend line and we couldn't get back above it. So we'll see how that goes. We are still we haven't committed to any safety orders on that one yet. So again, literally we could have the worst entry in the world, and providing you've got no safety orders committed, or even one safety order in that matter, it doesn't really matter too much. At the end of the day, we can always get out of a trade. Link down. This is just going down as per name, but Link is just doing quite well at the moment, so we do need to play that by ear a little bit and see where Link starts to hit a real significant resistance and starts to retrace, and at that point we'll start to jump in and load these safety orders up to get it out very quickly. And here she is. This is what a FOMO trade looks like. Yes, even pro traders do fall for it. And this is annoying, and I do want to shine a light on it because every now and again I will go in on FOMO trades or pumps like this when the market is pretty much going down. And that's really the only time, because there is always kind of a cause behind it. A lot of the time it is a pump and dump, but if you can time it relatively well, you can easily get 5%. Now, this is really bad advice, but if you're using a DCA structure, like I literally just said, you can afford to be a little bit, you can afford to shoot from the hip a little bit. You can afford to shoot from the hip a little bit, because your exposure and allocation commitment is so low at the start, and you have a nice stockpile that you essentially almost erase that trade with making sure that you get a better entry next time. So this pretty much immediately filled my first safety order. So we've got one safety order committed to this again, which is very minimal. But all being said, like, we have technically actually just broken out of an ascending triangle. Here is a key resistance that we have come out of. So even if we do retrace all the way back down here, I do feel like this is going to go higher and higher, and we will take profit I'm not worried about this in any sense whatsoever. Let's take a look at LTC, and this has had quite a lot of news going on around it lately, and like I said yesterday, it's one of those assets which is not, I guess, a top 10 asset, but it's always deemed as one of those front runners, one of those big market caps, one of the guys that are going to be outlasting the rest of them. It's got a lot of application. So when we're kind of nearing the general bottom of markets, in those cycle lows, certainly when we're kind of midway through the hardening cycles, then picking up these kind of assets which got strong fundamentals, good history behind them, is always a bit of a no-brainer. So for that reason, LTC can be a bit of a slow mover, but it's a bit of a safe mover. So really, really great for DCA trades. Matic, I think this is perpetually going to be in my portfolio. It's one of my 6 key holdings for portfolios, and I will just keep on buying it every single dip that comes in. I've got so much confidence in Matic and Polygon and what it's doing, and the amount of updates that are always coming out. When you're an asset that's being mentioned in the same sentence as Disney, things are going to go well. Mina protocol. This is I went in on this trade because there's quite a lot of news dropping around it. They didn't release their roadmap. Their roadmap is starting to have a lot of completed updates coming in. So anything like this, any actual fundamental completion of their roadmaps is always a good thing for a crypto asset. It means that it's expanding, it's growing, it's doing well, it's not doing badly. So we're going to see how that plays, and it's a news-based trade, this Mina trade as well is. If you can see this range here, from a TA standpoint, we don't particularly want to ever be seeing that where it's breaking down. So there is a bit of a chance that we could see a retrace further down before it bounces back up. But on the whole, it's not looking too bad. There's no significant divergences there. In fact, actually, more to the point, there's actually a bullish divergence there, which is looking good. And BTC is starting to pump as well, so that's going to start taking the market up. Great news. SXP actually took take profit. That's a great wick, and hasn't been hit by the BTC dump as much, which is quite nice to see. TRX down, another one of our thorn in the sides, but again, these are 3x tokens. They move at 3 times the rate of normal pricing. So we're going to wait for that inevitable correction that will come at some point. Even if we do track up to 27k, then that is maybe where I'll be putting these safety orders on all of the down tokens. XMR actually had some quite interesting news, as Binance will be supporting the upgrade, and that actually took it really badly. As you can see, a bit of a dump went down there. But it has recovered quite nicely. We're seeing higher lows and forming into this what looks like a symmetrical triangle. As you can see just there, that's kind of what I predict, and then I think we should probably break up from that. We'll see how that goes, but any news is good news. XRP, similar to my Matic concept, I'm pretty much perpetually going to be holding BTC, Ethereum, Matic, XRP. These are just great assets that I love. And lastly, ZIL. ZIL, we don't have much to say because it smashed through the take profit. So voila. And that concludes the block party. That concludes the block party portfolio today and where we're at with all the positions. In a nutshell, we have a nice, quite limited exposure on the longs, just in case Bitcoin does start to stack it further. We have a very tiny exposure on our short tokens as well. And ultimately, we're going to look to start opening our longs when we get some more bullish confirmation, either a bounce at around about 23,500, or if we start to break that 25k mark comfortably. Big Wick Energy is available exclusively on Mizar. It is subscription free, so you can literally start it for free today. And of course, please don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe on our YouTube channel, because it fills us with loads of happy thoughts and it makes us want to do more of these videos.